What's up guys, welcome back to Flipping Fortunes. In typical Flipping Fortune style, you know, we do nothing ordinary. So we are actually on a golf course right now. We're at Capital Canyons here in Prescott, Arizona. Absolutely beautiful. Of course, we got our member with us.
The celebrity around
here.
I
actually don't think you guys are allowed to be within 8 feet of me.
Anyway, we are gonna be telling you how to buy your first rental property in 2024. You're not gonna wanna miss this one. A lot of good information, a lot of good golf.
I'm gonna get us started for the day, all right? I just murdered that ball. What the hit though?
Pretty fucking good contact.
Wow, let's get into it.
All right, so basically you're trying to buy a rental property in 2024, right? I don't know if it's your first one, I don't know if it's your third one, your fifth one, whatever. Either way, buying a rental property in 2024, you wanna know the positives and you wanna know the negatives about buying that property. I'm gonna fill you in on some of the negatives. One of the negatives with buying one is going to be interest rates right now. Interest rates right now are about 7 to 7.25, and that's not fantastic. If you have really good credit, you might be able to get like a 6.75. If you're buying a property, let's just say for around 500 grand, they're gonna probably ask you to put down about 20%, which is about 100 grand. Say you can get a loan on 400,000. You better be able to rent that property out for at least 3,000 because that's probably what your payment's gonna be.
You know, another concern right now in 2024 is obviously it's an election year. A lot of people are uncertain about this market, so you could be buying now, you know, say 6 months to a year from now, you might be a little bit below market value. At the end of the day, if you're buying a deal, which is the absolute most important part, you are gonna be golden.
One other con is the uncertainty in the job market. So people are losing their jobs left and right, which is a super unfortunate thing. And if that happens, then you are gonna be the one who's left fronting the bill for that mortgage. Regardless if your tenant can pay or not, that doesn't change the fact that you have a mortgage and you have to pay it.
Are we wrong?
Right.
This is not normal. You're right, I did it, yes. Am I wrong?
3 drives in play, never ever happened before. We got 1 ball, 2 balls, 3 balls. Oh, I'm the furthest one? Oh.
The thing with Jake is we like to make him feel good, so Luke and I will purposefully like not hit too hard just so Jake thinks, hey, pal.
I hope you guys also saw, I only took 1 swing, Steven took 4. Alrighty, so we've told you guys a little bit about the negatives of buying a rental in 2024. Now let's get over to the positive. 2024 is a great year to buy rentals if you're buying deals. And the reason why I feel that way is because so many investors have pulled back. We're 100%. Seeing it left and right. A lot of competitors, guess what? They're pulling back. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market, so they're not buying as many deals, which leaves a lot of deals for everyday people like you and I.
You're having people pull back because of those interest rates. A lot of people say, you know, I only buy when interest rates are low. But again, like Jake just said, you tend to get better deals when there's less buyers because obviously you just have less competition. So when you have less competition, you've got more to choose from, right? My personal favorite right now of buying rentals right now in 2024 is the fact that rental rates are through the roof right now. Even though you do have more uncertainty in the market, and like we'd mentioned before, one of the negatives is that there is more uncertainty. With that, you have less people that are buying houses. So you might have someone who might have been qualified to buy a house, but they're saying, you know what, I'm gonna step back and I'm just gonna rent right now. So with that happening, you have an influx of a lot more renters coming into the marketplace. And what that does is it pushes up rental rates. So we're getting the highest rental rates we've ever seen on properties right now. And I gotta say, I love it.
Like, this may be an unpopular opinion, I don't know what you guys think, but there's a classic phrase, date the rate, marry the home, right? Will most likely be an opportunity in the future to refinance your rate. So if you can get a great deal on a house right now, I think jump on it, you know? I mean, you have to evaluate what your risk tolerance is, and you're risk adverse, maybe don't do that, but that's just how I like to function. All right, guys, we're back at the office. We ended up having.
This is real. The cough started before you started, so there wasn't a whole lot I could do.
All right, guys, so we're back at the office right now. We actually ended up having a little bit too much fun at Capital Canyon, you know. So if you're up in Prescott, you might want to check it out.
Too much fun, like golf-wise, just straight golf.
Yeah, the golf was too intense. No, to be honest with you, this guy over here, he ended up taking down 16 shots of fireballs What was it, like 32 shots of tequila?
Yeah, I think so.
So we were sober. Jake and I,
Yeah.
we didn't have anything.
After 48 shots, I was like, I was feeling it a little bit.
We told you about the pros, we told you about the cons, and now we're actually gonna break down step by step how to buy a rental in 2024.
The first thing that you're going to want to do is locate your market. We've been very particular with the areas that we bought in so far with our rental properties. We are in the East Valley of Phoenix. For the 5-6 years that we've been buying rental properties, we just personally don't want to have any rental properties in the West Valley. We don't want to have to travel, an hour to this specific area that we're not huge fans of anyway, to go, pick up rent or to deal with issues when they arise. So majority of our rental properties are either going to be in the East Valley in Phoenix, or they're going to be in Northern Arizona. Now I know that's, kind of goes against what I just said because they're further away, but that is a fantastic rental market, and we're from there, so we have a lot of connections there that can kind of take care of the properties when we're not there. So again, locating your market is extremely important. So another thing that we love about the markets that we have chosen is that they tend to be close to kind of downtown areas where, you're going to get higher rents if somebody doesn't necessarily have to drive 20 minutes, there and back. Regular things, restaurants, shopping, Walmart, stuff like that, right? So the thing is that when you're close to that kind of stuff, you don't need, we actually have a lot of people that will literally just take a bike or they'll just walk to these places. And so again, people will pay more for that, that convenience.
When I'm taking a look at rentals, I don't want to be overly picky, but I like to at least look at areas that I personally would be okay living in. Because I think, if I'm okay living there, then obviously there's going to be a market of other people who are really interested in living there too.
Quality of life is like a big factor.
Yes.
Most of our rentals and what we've gravitated towards is just in areas we like to be. One, convenience for managing. Also, like Steven's saying, two, you want somewhere that's nice where you can see yourself renting, so that way other people are going to want to rent it as well.
And the other thing that's kind of nice about that too is that you also can kind of bring in a quality renter. Because again, we've seen it happen time over time where it's like, people have rental properties in like those really, really, really kind of shitty areas. I hate to say it, but when you're in those shitty areas, what do you think happens? Like, you're drawing shitty tenants and they destroy your property. And what happens when you do that? You lose money. So it's like, Jake and I have done a couple of flips in the past where we did them in like not good areas. And you literally have doors broken left and right. You have, copper piping go missing, and you're like, what the hell? It's crazy. But those are just things you have to think about.
It's really just one extra stressor that you can avoid just by choosing your area. We're not saying that you shouldn't go in those low income areas. Right. Guess what? A lot of people make tons of money doing that. But for your first one or your second or third, I would say go somewhere that's going to be a more quality tenant. You're not going to have as many repairs when they move out, which means you're not going to have to put as much money in to that house when you turn it over.
Something that's really important when you're trying to find a rental as well is to have patience. Have the patience to find the right deal as well. Don't just jump into something just to jump into something, because you're going to end up shooting yourself in the foot.
Next is asset class. So asset class is, that's, if you're not familiar with what that means, that's, is it a single family home? Is it multifamily? Is it duplex, triplex, fourplex, or is it, 10 units, something like that? Which, if you're kind of just getting started, odds are you're probably not buying a 10 unit. You're probably not even buying a 4 unit. It's most likely going to be a single family, maybe a duplex, but that's important. It's one of those things where, you can kind of stick to that as well. We've ventured out a little bit, and typically how it kind of works is you start with single family homes and then you'll work your way up, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. At least that's what we've done. I remember when we did our first duplex. I remember when we did our first fourplex, and the last one that we did, we built a 10 unit. So, those are kind of the different asset classes that you can kind of, and I'm also forgetting commercial too. You can also buy a commercial building. So those are just the different asset classes. You probably want to know, which one you want to stick to, at least getting started. If it's your first rental property, I probably wouldn't recommend starting with like a commercial spot. You know what I mean? It's just a little bit different, a little bit more risky. So a
lot of times commercial is more of an operation, whereas when you're sticking to the single family or that smaller multifamily, it's such an easier barrier to entry. And the best part is, like Luke was saying, everyone needs housing. Personally, my favorite asset class is the small multifamily. You know, you can always be a little cheaper on rents. You're not like you're having to push these crazy high rents on single family to get numbers to pencil, especially in today's market.
Another thing that I think is kind of underrated about like smaller multifamily stuff is that they're very rarely in areas where you have HOAs. Because I know, you know, you can also start with, you know, say condos or townhomes. The thing is though, is that, you know, you're typically going to get better deals on those just in the sense of price that you're paying. Like, you know, if you're buying a condo is not going to be the same price as a single family house, right? So you can get condos for a lot less. But the negatives with those is that a lot of times they'll have high HOAs. And so an HOA payment it's ultimately gone. Like and it's never going down. I can promise you, HOA payments are never going down.
Most of the time they're going up.
Exactly.
A lot of people would say they would want to buy an HOA because it's a lot less maintenance. You know, you got someone taking care of the roof, the whole exterior, everything like that. And yeah, that might be the case, but honestly, the way that we've seen it is it really hurts the cash flow in getting a deal to pencil, because that HOA is a lot of times $200-300, when a lot of times on a duplex, you're cash flowing say $200 to $300 per unit. So that literally can eat up that entire cash flow just from an HOA.
Now we've distinguished which market we want to be in. We've decided whether we want to invest in a single family or a multifamily asset class. So now the most important thing, how do you find your deal? How do you seek out your deal? And there's actually a couple different ways that you can do it.
So when we're looking for rentals, we kind of have 3 different options of how we go to find deals. One, you can have investor-friendly agents. These are just typical real estate agents. And when I say investor-friendly, not all agents are created equally. You know, we love agents, but let's just be honest, not everyone's willing to put in the same amount of work as some others. So you really want to find an investor-friendly agent that is willing to put in a good number of offers for you, because that is absolutely critical when you're trying to find your deal. You need to be submitting a ton of offers, because guess what? Because like Steven said earlier, you want to be super patient and make sure this is the right deal for you. And the only way that's going to happen is if you're making offers that make sense for you. Don't always look at what they're listed at. Always come in at where this deal makes sense for you.
Moral of the story there is make good relationships with investor-friendly agents. Find the right person for you and they will treat you super well.
The second place where we find deals is through other wholesalers. These are people that are actively out there looking and finding good deals. You know, if this is your very first deal, this probably might not be the best option for you, because a lot of times these homes do need a bit more work. But if you're on that second, third, fifth rental, buying deals from wholesalers can be the best option, because you're going to get one of the best deals. So if you're brand new to real estate investing, another great place to find deals, and wholesalers for that matter, is in Facebook groups. One, you're going to find other wholesalers that are actively having deals. You can be surrounded by other investors, like-minded people, bounce ideas off each other. It's an absolutely great spot to find deals.
So you've taken the step, you've written a ton of offers, and you've put in your reps. It's like going to the gym. You're not gonna get buff if you go to the gym just one time. You're gonna get buff by going to the gym and putting in the reps, and writing those offers is really practicing and you know, getting buff. So you're at the point where you've put in a bunch of reps, you've written a ton of offers, and you finally get one accepted. At this point, it's gonna feel like you're high on life, everything's super exciting, and then you think, oh shit, I need to figure out my financing, which can be a scary thing, but it's really not if you have all your ducks in a row.
So when you're buying rentals, there's 2 main financing options that you have. One, you can just go straight conventional financing. This is the old school route. If you're going the conventional lending route, a lot of times you're gonna have to put down 20% on a single family house. Whereas if it's multifamily, you're gonna have to come in with a lot of times 25% to buy that deal. That is a conventional route. You do a lot of times have to have the 2 years work history in one location. So if you don't have that, guess what? There are other options. There is a DSCR loan. This stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. And what that means is they're treating that deal that you have as its own business. They don't necessarily look at you as the borrower as much as they look at that asset.
The thing that we like about DSCR, like Jake had mentioned, is that you can typically line up a lot of those. I mean, this is for, you know, for if you're starting to buy quite a few, but if you go the conventional route, which is considered Fannie Freddie, you only get 10 loans. I'm not saying only, like that's quite a few, but when you go DSCR, none of them go against those traditional loans. So you can do as many as you want. One of the negative things about DSCR loans is that they are going to be higher interest rate, because it's a little bit more risky, because they're not asking for as much paperwork and as much proof that you truly know what you're doing. So because of that, they're going to, they're going to make up for it by charging you a higher interest rate.
So I know what you're thinking. You may have seen a bunch of gurus on YouTube talking about how you can get into properties with $0 down, and that type of financing does exist. It's typically creative financing, and we'll talk about that in another video.
If you are a brand new investor, and you're looking for that rental property, I highly recommend, conventional route, just because it is that lower interest rate. It's going to be a little bit safer to go that route, and it's going to be, in all honesty, less hoops in the sense of the investment side. DSCR, it's going to require more money down, and it's also going to be a higher interest rate. So if you're just starting out, I would definitely recommend going the conventional route if you've got your 2 years of work experience.
To wrap up identifying your financing, just like you want to find an investor-friendly realtor, you really want to find an investor-friendly lender that is knowledgeable in these different loan products, and they can help you choose the best option for you.
And last but not least, we've got the exit strategy. But yeah, really what this comes down to is what you want to do with your property once you have it. Do you want to self-manage it? Do you want to have a property manager? Those are kind of the different options. That really just comes down to you as a person. If it is your first one, I personally highly recommend self-managing it. The reason why I do is because you're gonna learn the ins and outs of kind of what it takes to actually manage a property. When you just hand it off to a property manager right off the bat, you're gonna miss out on a lot of things that you're not gonna learn along the way. And if you're planning on buying a lot of properties, it's good to know those types of things. I would say the biggest things that we've learned are when we're doing renovations on these rental properties now, we know where to spend the extra money, because we always see, okay, one example, right? One example is that a lot of our rental properties are up in Prescott, Arizona, where it's cold. If you don't insulate your pipes, they're all gonna break in the wintertime. And when they break, it's a lot of money out of pocket. So it's like things like that you will know, like insulate your pipes in a cold area.
The other big thing deciding between self-managing and going to the property management company is, of course, you're gonna keep more money in your pocket if you are self-managing. This does kind of come down to what you want to do as an investor though. So if you want to be more involved and you want to be a true real estate investor where you're involved in it on the daily, self-management is probably the way to go. But if you are kind of a higher net worth individual and you really just want to add on rentals to your portfolio, I would go having a project manager, because you're going to be more hands-off and you don't really care as much about those small dollars that you're going to be saving.
So in all honesty, guys, between the three of us, we own 6,573 rental properties.
You ever heard of Hilton, motherfucker?
I'm just kidding. But we do have about 50. We're right in the ballpark of about 50 between the three of us. And so we have seen a lot, good and bad. We've self-managed. We have had property managers. So I mean, again, we've been around the block.
So if there's anything you guys want to see and learn, drop it in the comments, because we're going to be doing a lot more videos like this, and we'd love to help you out.